First Chicago is a method that has been used since the 1990s. It's based upon the premise that we don't really know if a company will A, be successful, B, fail to meet its primary growth objectives, or C, bump along and survive, neither fulfilling its initial projections nor dying. We'll call the latter scenario survival. At the earliest stages of growth, predicting the future is guesswork at best. The First Chicago approach assumes that one of the three scenarios will transpire and assigns a probability to each potential outcome. This method provides for three different projections: best, worst, and survival scenarios. Let's look at a quick example applying the following probabilities. Success, a 10% chance, failure, a 20% chance, and survival, a 70% chance. When utilized, the First Chicago method results in separate valuation for each of the three potential outcomes. It produces a weighted average for these three different scenarios. These are then added together and the valuation and pricing is determined. One might call it a hybrid methodology because it employs some subjective measures. The probability of success or failure is applied by the user. Future projections that define terminal value are but predictions, and even the discount or risk rate applied to the formula can be applied arbitrarily by the user. As such, one can always debate the accuracy of the end results. The First Chicago method also borrows from more quantitative methods for valuation, using the concept of discounting future cash flows to find a present value. As you can see, we call it a hybrid method because it employs both qualitative measures and quantitative methods to arrive at the present value of a company. First Chicago is most accurate when a company already enjoys some level of revenue, which makes predicting future performance less risky. This method can thus be used throughout the evolution of a company. It's easiest to understand how First Chicago works when presented in a spreadsheet model, which is how most entrepreneurs and investors use it. When using the spreadsheet template, you should provide inputs in the fields highlighted in yellow. For example, let's start with a base revenue of $1 million. Then we apply revenue growth rate for each of the three probabilities based upon internally generated projections. We do the same for after-tax profit margin. Those will differ by company and industry type, but you can do some research to see what the margins look like for a successful company and discount it appropriately for survival status. Same for the price-earnings ratios in Field 5. The discount rate, Field 6, represents a risk discount for investors and can be looked at as being the same as their target return or investment goal. What ROI do they need to induce them to make an investment? In Field 7, we punch in our probability rates. These can vary. In the last field, we plug in the proposed investment. In this example, it's $500,000. The algorithms behind the spreadsheet do the rest of the work. Revenue growth after 3 and 5 years is projected for each probability. Net income at the time of a liquidity event, like an acquisition, is based upon profit margin. The terminal value or future value of the company is predicted based upon price-earnings ratios. The present value under each scenario is then calculated and the probability applied, resulting in a valuation, in this case, $1.6 million. The spreadsheet also identifies the ownership or equity an investor will need to make given their return on investment objective. Both the VC method and the First Chicago method result in a valuation that is defensible because it is based on realistic forecasts of revenue and earnings. Therefore, in order to utilize these methods, you'll need to know your revenue model and product service pricing, the market demand and associated growth rates, the sales cycle or customer adoption rate, overhead, selling, and administrative expenses that align with growth. Without an accurate pro forma profit-loss model, the accuracy of a couple of these models falls short and can be challenged. You will soon learn why. And, while not covered in this course, it is important for entrepreneurs to first learn to prepare accurate and supportable pro forma forecasts. You will find links to resources related to pro forma development on the page below.